Can't get over her face when she was laid out on that floor. I can't get over her face.
It's hard for Shania Dunston to stand in front of this home.
I'm her only daughter. I'm 21 years old, and I'm just imagining the fact that everybody else have a mother, and I don't.
Her 2-year-old brother wondering when their mom, Alana Anoisi, is coming back.
Pointing at the door, thinking that he was going to come back home.
All Shania can do is remember the good times, lucky to have been raised by a kind and caring mom who would give anyone the shirt off her back.
My mom was a very loving, kind. She always showed dignity to people. She always humbled other people, and she made sure I was always loved. And if anybody don't got anything, she'll do it.
But she says not everyone showed her mom that kindness in return. When her mom began dating 65-year-old Keith Atkinson last year, Shania says there were red flags.
This dude was very short-tempered, very possessive.
It was Thursday when she says Keith showed up. Shania was upstairs.
All I heard was Alana got shot. So I ran downstairs quickly as possible.
Her mom was shot right in front of her young brother. Shania tried to do CPR. Her mom later died at the hospital. Keith took off.
He was just casually walking away, like it was nothing to him.
Keith was later arrested and was denied bond at court. Now, as Shania deals with the loss of her mom, now another tough road ahead. Showing up to relive what happened in court to fight for justice.
If I could scream to the depths of heaven, I would. Because I seen that man walking today make me furious. Makes me so furious. You physically walking this earth, my mom ain't. But I know my mom is not suffering anymore.
A mother lies dying on her living room floor. Her 2-year-old son watches in terror. Her 21-year-old daughter desperately performs CPR, fighting to save the only parent she's ever truly known. And the man who pulled the trigger? He walks away like he just took out the trash. This is Shania's reality. If I could scream to the depths of heaven, I would, she says, her voice breaking. Because seeing that man walking today makes me furious. You're physically walking this earth. My mom ain't. What you're about to hear isn't just another domestic violence case. It's the story of how a 27-year age gap became a death sentence, how red flags turned into gunshots, and how a woman's kindness became her greatest vulnerability. If cases like this matter to you, if you believe these stories need to be told, hit that subscribe button right now. We upload new content every single day, diving deep into cases that expose the reality of domestic violence. Your subscription helps us reach more people who need to hear these warnings. Alana Anoisi was 38 years old and everything a mother should be. She worked at Humana, helping people navigate healthcare when they needed it most. She studied at Wake Technical Community College, building the foundation for a better future. But her real achievement was simpler and more profound. She was loved. She was one of the happiest persons in the world, her cousin Daniel Kinney remembers. Not the kind of happiness that comes from Instagram filters or weekend getaways. The real kind. The kind that stops to help homeless people on the street. The kind that answers your phone call at 2 in the morning when life feels too heavy. Alana had 2 children who were her entire universe. Shania, 21, had grown up watching her mother balance work, school, and single parenthood with a grace that made it look effortless. Then there was her baby boy, just 2 years old, still learning to form complete sentences, but already fluent in his mother's hugs and laughter. Their home on Cantwell Court in Raleigh wasn't fancy. It was better than fancy. It was safe. It was the place where bedtime stories happened every night, where scraped knees got kissed better, where love lived in every corner. Alana had built something beautiful there, something that should have been untouchable. But love doesn't protect you from making the wrong choice about who to trust. Enter Keith Atkinson, 65 years old to her 38. Do the math. That's a 27-year gap, nearly a full generation separating them. To her family, it felt wrong from the start. To Alana, always seeing the best in people, it probably felt like giving someone a chance. Keith wasn't a stranger to Raleigh. He'd lived there for years, but he wasn't the kind of man who left a mark on his community. No notable career achievements, no volunteer work that anyone remembered, no friends who spoke glowing words about his character. He was just there, existing in the background of other people's lives, until Alana let him into hers. They'd been together roughly a year when her world ended. And during that year, the people who loved Alana most began to see things that made them uncomfortable. Small things at first. The way Keith's mood could shift without warning, how quickly his voice could carry an edge, how he seemed to need to know where Alana was, who she was with, what she was doing. This dude was very short-tempered, Shania would later say, very possessive. Those aren't throwaway observations from a daughter who didn't like her mom's boyfriend. Those are warning signs that everyone around Alana could see except, perhaps, Alana herself. Here's what happens when a woman like Alana, generous, trusting, always believing people can change, gets involved with a man like Keith. The red flags don't disappear, they multiply. Keith's possessiveness wasn't cute or protective. It was controlling. His short temper wasn't just a personality quirk. It was a weapon he used to keep Alana walking on eggshells in her own home. The same home that used to be filled with nothing but warmth and safety. Family gatherings became tense when Keith was around. Shania found herself watching her mother's face for signs of stress, listening to conversations for hints of conflict. The easy rhythm of their household, mother and daughter, big sister and baby brother, became complicated by the presence of a man who seemed to suck the oxygen out of every room he entered. But Alana, like so many women before her, probably told herself it would get better. Maybe she thought love could smooth out his rough edges. Maybe she believed she could be patient enough, understanding enough, good enough to help him change. That's the trap, isn't it? Good women thinking they can love bad men into becoming different people. It doesn't work. It never works. And for Alana Anoisi, it became deadly. By March of this year, the tension in that Cantwell Court apartment had reached a breaking point. What started as small arguments had grown into something much more dangerous. Keith's need to control Alana had become an obsession. His possessiveness had turned into something that felt less like love and more like ownership. The stage was set for tragedy. All it would take was one moment, one argument, one decision by a man who had already shown he couldn't handle being told no. That moment was coming fast. March 27th, 2025, a Thursday evening that should have been like any other in the Anoisi household. Alana was downstairs with her 2-year-old son, probably getting him ready for bedtime, maybe cleaning up after dinner, normal mom stuff, life as usual. Upstairs, Shania was with her aunt, likely talking, laughing, enjoying the kind of casual family time that feels so ordinary until you realize you'll never have it again. Then Keith showed up. Shania wishes her mother hadn't opened that door. She wishes Alana had looked through the peephole and decided for once to protect herself instead of giving him another chance. But Alana was Alana, kind, forgiving, always believing people deserved another opportunity to do better. The argument started almost immediately, voices raised, tension that had been building for months finally boiling over. Keith's possessiveness, his need to control every aspect of Alana's life, had reached a point where even she couldn't smooth it over anymore. But here's what makes this different from every other domestic dispute that ends in raised voices and slammed doors. Keith came prepared for more than an argument. He had a gun. Not just any gun. A stolen semi-automatic handgun. This wasn't a crime of passion where someone grabbed whatever was nearby in a moment of rage. This was premeditated. Keith Atkinson walked into Alana's home, into the space where her children lived and played, carrying a weapon he had no legal right to possess. The shot rang out at 8 p.m. Upstairs, Shania froze. That sound cuts through everything else. The TV, conversation, the normal sounds of a household. It's sharp, final, unmistakable. Your brain knows immediately that something terrible has just happened. She ran down those stairs, probably taking them 3 at a time, her heart hammering against her ribs, and what she found will haunt her for the rest of her life. Her mother, Alana, was on the floor, blood spreading beneath her. Her little brother standing there, 2 years old, and forced to witness something no child should ever see, something no human should ever see. Shania dropped to her knees and started CPR. Imagine that for a second. Your mother is dying in front of you, and you have to become the person trying to save her. You have to push down the panic, the grief, the rage, and focus on chest compressions and rescue breaths because she's all you have left, and you cannot let her go. Mom, stay with me. Mom, please stay with me. But even as Shania fought to keep her mother alive, Keith Atkinson was walking away, not running, not panicking, not showing any sign that he had just destroyed an entire family. He walked out of that apartment like he'd just finished a casual conversation. He was just casually walking away, Shania remembers, like it was nothing to him. Nothing to him. A woman's life, a mother's love, a family's future, nothing. Emergency responders arrived within minutes, but minutes were too long. They rushed Alana to the hospital where doctors fought to save her, but the damage was too severe. At 38 years old, with 2 children who needed her, a job where she helped people every day, and a heart full of kindness that this world desperately needed, Alana Anoisi was gone. Here's what investigators discovered. In the hours and days following Alana's murder, Keith Atkinson thought he was smarter than he actually was. The gun used to kill Alana was stolen. That added a federal dimension to an already horrific crime. But here's the truly chilling part. Investigators believe Keith thought he could get away with it because he assumed no one had witnessed the shooting. He knew about the 2-year-old, but a toddler can't testify in court. He knew about Alana, but dead women can't identify their killers. What he didn't know was that Shania was upstairs with her aunt. He didn't account for the one person who could place him at the scene, who could describe exactly what happened, who could ensure he faced justice for what he'd done. That miscalculation cost him everything. The investigation moved quickly because there wasn't much mystery about who was responsible. Witnesses identified Keith leaving the scene. The weapon was linked to him. Shania's testimony provided a clear picture of the events leading up to the shooting. But speed doesn't make it easier for a family dealing with unimaginable loss. While detectives processed evidence and built their case, Alana's children were trying to figure out how to exist in a world without their mother. Keith Atkinson was arrested the next day. No manhunt required, no dramatic chase scene, just a man who had convinced himself he could commit murder and walk away free, learning that the justice system had other plans. He was charged with first-degree murder and possession of a stolen firearm, 2 felonies that could put him away for the rest of his life, which, given that he was already 65, might not be nearly long enough for Alana's family. His first court appearance was swift and decisive. The judge took one look at the charges, listened to the prosecution's arguments, and denied bond. Keith Atkinson would wait for his trial in jail, exactly where he belonged. The courtroom was packed with Alana's family and friends. They came to look this man in the eye, to make sure he understood that Alana wasn't just a victim. She was a person, a woman who was loved, who mattered, whose death had created a hole in dozens of lives. Daniel Kinney, Alana's cousin, was there. When asked what justice would look like to him, his answer was simple and final: death, that's it. It's hard to argue with that sentiment when you're looking at a man who stole a gun, walked into a family's home, and murdered a mother in front of her children. Shania testified about the red flags she'd seen, the possessiveness, the short temper, the way Keith had tried to control her mother's life. She spoke about watching her mother die, about performing CPR on the woman who had given her everything, about seeing Keith walk away like Alana's life meant nothing. "You killed the person that was part of me," she told him. "You killed the person that was the foundation of my life." But even in her grief, even in her justified anger, Shania found something that Keith would never possess: forgiveness. "I forgive him no matter what it is," she said, "but I'm trying to figure out, what was your motive behind all this?" That's the question that haunts every domestic violence case, isn't it? What makes someone think they have the right to take another person's life because they can't control them? What turns love into ownership, disagreement into murder? The legal proceedings continued, but for Alana's family, no verdict would bring her back. No sentence would undo the trauma her children experienced. No amount of justice would fill the empty chair at family dinners, or replace the voice that used to read bedtime stories. Alana Anoisi's story doesn't end with Keith Atkinson's conviction. It ends with the way she lived, with kindness that touched strangers, with love that made her children feel safe, with generosity that lifted up everyone around her. Her community rallied around her family, raising money for funeral expenses, showing up to court hearings, making sure her memory lived on. Because that's what happens when you lose someone who made the world brighter just by being in it. The red flags were there from the beginning: the age gap, the possessiveness, the short temper, the need to control. Alana's family saw them, worried about them, probably warned her about them. But love, or what we think is love, makes us ignore warning signs that should send us running. If Alana's death teaches us anything, it's this. When someone shows you who they are through their anger, their jealousy, their need to control your every move, believe them. Don't think you can change them. Don't hope they'll get better. Don't sacrifice your safety for someone else's potential. Alana deserved better. Her children deserved better. And somewhere tonight, there's another woman making excuses for red flags that could kill her tomorrow. Don't be that woman. Be the one who walks away. Be the one who chooses safety over false hope. Be the one who lives to tell your story instead of becoming another case file. That's how we honor Alana Anoisi. That's how we make sure her death wasn't meaningless. That's how we save the next woman who's standing where Alana once stood, wondering if love is supposed to feel like fear. Before you go, if Alana's story moved you, if you believe these cases deserve attention, subscribe to Trending Tragedies right now. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a story. We post new true crime content daily, focusing on domestic violence cases that mainstream media often overlooks. Every subscription helps us reach someone who might need to hear these warning signs. Every share could save a life. Every like tells us these stories matter to you. Because these aren't just cases to us, they're real people whose voices deserve to be heard. And maybe, just maybe, telling their stories will help write a different ending for someone else. See you in the next video where we'll continue exposing the tragedies that matter.